Hello, and welcome to Growing Strong Roots, an occupational therapist's perspective on parenting, self regulation, and resilience. I'm your host, Leanne Bloom, owner and occupational therapist at Oak Bloom OT in Oakland, California. At Oak Bloom, we provide holistic occupational therapy for children, focusing on increasing functional life skills through interest based learning and family involvement. As a mom and a therapist working with families for many years, I've seen firsthand how overwhelming it can be to raise sturdy children. My goal is to share science-based strategies, real-life stories, and resources that can help you nourish those roots so that you and the children in your life can grow stronger, sturdier, and more resilient. Let's root down together, water those roots so individuals and families can bloom to their fullest potential. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up for all families, whether you're raising a child who pushes back because of neurological differences, or you're supporting a child going through a big life transition like starting a new school or entering puberty. And that topic is setting loving boundaries. Boundaries are uncomfortable, both for the person who's setting the boundary and the person experiencing the boundary being set. It's much easier just to do things for our kids rather than teach them the way to do it, a particular task. It's also really important for families to give these boundaries to their kids to help with structure and predictability and manage their emotions and behavior. Boundaries can also create a sense of safety for kids, knowing that their caregivers are in charge, which frees them up to explore and build independence. Boundaries help set up healthy routines, like around screen time, bedtime, chores, and transitions, which can reduce stress in the long run. In the moment, though, it might not feel like that. Boundaries encourage self-regulation by teaching kids to manage impulses and make choices within clear limits. But boundaries aren't just about controlling children. They're about setting clear expectations. And when expectations are clear, it's easier to reinforce them. And kids know what's expected of them. This structure provides both parents and children a sense of safety and consistency. When setting boundaries, we have to start by finding the child's baseline. That's where they are developmentally and functionally right now. As an occupational therapist, I look not just at developmental milestones, but also at the child's environment, emotional load, sensory preferences, and or sensitivities. And from there, we scaffold, meaning we provide just enough support to help teach them and stretch them beyond their current abilities in daily life tasks, such as cleaning the kitchen, doing homework, keeping their room organized, or getting to school on time. The boundaries in these areas help kids grow while helping families feel more regulated and connected. You can practice doing the task alongside them for a few weeks to see where their strengths are and where their struggles are. And so sometimes scaffolding starts with observation. You may watch your child complete a task, stepping in only as needed. However, I will say that being in the same room with a child, watching them do a task, especially one that they may not be used to doing on their own, can change their performance. This is called the observer effect. And you might need to be crafty to have them work with a sibling or a peer. You can take data on your child's performance, just a mental note of how they're doing on a task, maybe over a number of times or different environments. And once you know their baseline, then you can start building the expectation of what's involved and how you'll be involved in the task, and begin pulling back to let them take on more ownership of the task. Of course, this is where things can get hard. The child is used to having you care for them and helping them with things. So when you stop helping them, they may be confused and interpret that as a sign that you're not caring for them. You can get pushback. When you know that your child what your child can do, then you can be better at setting boundaries. When kids push back on boundaries, they can talk back, grumble, or flat out refuse, and it can feel personal. But often, this resistance is a part of the growth process. Kids need to do hard things to make them grow. Kids may hold it together all day at school, masking their struggles, and then release their emotions at home where they feel safe. And that pushback is sometimes less about defiance and more about exhaustion, overwhelm, or a way of communicating that a need for more support is needed. And that support might change depending on what has gone on for them that day and what they're able to do. It takes some practice and knowing your kid to be able to differentiate between them having a hard day and needing extra support and when they're pushing back because it feels just easier at the time to do that than the hard work that's in front of them. As parents, it's important to remember it's okay to let kids struggle. It's okay for them to do hard things. And that's how you build resilience and skills. So, how do we scaffold this learning when boundaries are being tested? I see it as a two-part answer. First, we need to put our own oxygen mask first. We need to come in resource for ourselves. That means managing our own self-regulation before stepping into a hard moment. Taking a few deep breaths, centering yourself, recalling a calming memory. That's what you can do for yourself. And when a child pushes on your boundary to the point of triggering you into wanting to raise your voice or even be physical with your child, take a moment in those acute stress responses to take a breath. I recommend this 4x4 breathing technique. I learned it many years ago, and I still use it today. And you could do it by just taking 4 breaths in. So it looks like this. And then holding it for 4 breaths. And then breathing out for 4. And holding it out for 4. And doing that 4 times. Sometimes I'll put a visual reminder by putting a square breathing technique on my fridge. Well, it'll help me remember to take this strategy whenever I need it. By modeling taking care of yourself in a heated moment is another way to show your child how to manage their difficult emotions when they may feel upset or triggered. When we're regulated, we can better support a child who isn't. Still, setting a boundary is very difficult, especially if you're not practiced at it. So you may need to figure out what your why is in setting a boundary. What are the values that you have for setting a boundary in the first place with your child? What are the virtues that you want to instill in them? What are the skills that you want them to be independent in? What kinds of personality do you want to instill, such as responsibility and resilience? Do you want them to be good at doing hard work? Do you want them to be employable? Do you want them to have resilience in the face of doing other things that might be hard for them, such as schoolwork or sports? You are setting them up by letting them struggle in a safe environment. You're setting them up for success. Secondly, in setting this scaffolding, we need to look at what might be overwhelming the child. So are they visually overstimulated? Is there auditory overload? Are they struggling with executive function? What's the challenge there? And we can break that task into smaller, more manageable steps when a child's having a hard time. So instead of saying, clean the kitchen, you may need to start with bring the dishes to the sink. And then if that feels like too much, even breaking it down further, like move this pan from here to there. The idea is to find the smallest step that they can do and build on the skill from there. By combining loving boundaries, scaffolding, and our own regulation as parents, we give kids both structure and the freedom to grow, one step at a time. And boundaries, as we've learned in this podcast, aren't just for kids, they protect parents too. By setting loving limits, caregivers preserve their own energy and model healthy self care. Finally, boundaries strengthen relationships by reducing conflict and making room for positive, connected moments together as a family.